Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here, and we're taking another look at World Ablaze mod, and we're going to be looking at Italy. Playing it, they have definitely a better national focus tree. I know we just clicked on something here, than the base game does. Not quite as developed in Germany, but then, hey, what national focus trees are developed as much as Germany's? But a lot of things here to deal with. Including support the nationalists. A lot of good stuff coming over time. We're going to be developing Italy's highways. To the best of my knowledge, and because you're using the term highway, Italy really doesn't do a Autobahn style of development. They have the, I'm going to butcher, I know, sorry, the Italian, others butchering the Italian, but the Miglia, or whatever, the 1,000-mile race that they run yearly around this sort of area here. It's a road race. It's like 1,000 miles. At one point, they cut it down to about 500 miles. A road race, and it's definitely on the the main roads, but I don't quite think it's what we would think of as an Autobahn style highways. But definitely developing. Italy was very much just starting to develop its automotive and infrastructure, including its roads in a modern sense at this time. So let's look over here. Okay, well, we need to do some of the basics. Get some of these going. Let's look at their Air 3. Okay. Not yet ready for the Naval Bombers. Italy, the one thing that they're really known for, and they hold some of the cups for a long time until about this time period, and Supermarine comes in, is seaplanes. They do a lot of seaplane racing. Well, let's get this going. Now, Italy's artillery is pretty bad for the time period. They're using a lot of actual World War I artillery in mainline divisions. They just don't have, guess we'll do this. Just don't quite have the production infrastructure to build even enough guns for their artillery, for their divisions. They really, really struggle with that. I guess nothing to do there. Researching there. These are all. Well, because yeah, it was mostly known as a CV-33. At least that's how I know it. Integrated infantry support. Decisive. Yeah, these are mutually exclusive. Advanced squad tactic. Which one is the worst possible? That's one I think I should pick. Mass assault. Reinforcement rate breakthrough. Large front operations. Squad tactics. Planning now. Planning something. Reinforcement rate, supply consumption down. Breakthrough. Well, this is probably the best one. Well, I guess I'll take the best one. Hello, Vented and USA Man. Yeah, I don't know the aircraft all that well. I would definitely recommend licensing German equipment. Well, that would be a smart thing, and it would have been very smart of the Italians to do so in World War II, but the Italian manufacturers basically said no to that. Well, okay, I mean literally World War I guns as in left over from World War I because they didn't have the production capability to build new guns. So yeah, they've been through one World War. Might as well use the same guns again. Hello, Sandpiper. How does World compare to Black Ice? Well, we have one of the devs for, or the main Uncharted dev, the main dev for World Ablaze here. It's trying to be very historical without overcomplicating things. I guess that's how I would put it. I don't think that I would call World Ablaze better than Black Ice. But I think World Ablaze has a sort of really good reason for being, if you will, in that they're not trying to overdo things, are trying to do more details on things. Okay, so that's how I would sort of explain how it compares. Okay, well, one thing that I've learned with this is we need to have lots of artillery. Okay, now, another interesting thing with Italy, the Italian army. Italy is made up of mountains. Its northern border is basically a mountain range. It does have this central plateau, and yeah, some areas that aren't too mountainous. And then it has a mountain range down the center of it, and Sicily and Sardinia are all mountainous. So basically, I mean, you can always prove, when you say all or every, I know I'm going to be wrong somewhere, but basically every infantry division has integrated mountain guns, which are lighter guns than standard artillery. This is because of two reasons. One, the aforementioned mountains that they know they will be fighting in. Now, they do have alpine or Apin, how do you say? Alpini, that's it. Alpini type troop divisions that are specifically mountain divisions. Of course, they have mountain guns, but the standard infantry divisions also have mountain guns. So one is because they know they're going to be fighting in the mountains with standard divisions. And two, they're cheaper to make, and the ammunition's cheaper to make because they can't make enough artillery for their regular, or to fill out all their regular divisions. So might as well make some of this cheaper mountain artillery, and the ammunition's cheaper too. And the ammunition's smaller, so it's easier to move around because we don't have that much trucking and that kind of thing. So, yeah, Italy is fairly weak in a lot of this and fills their gaps with some of this stuff. Okay. You have two lines of regular artillery, and I'm seeing that. I'm seeing the old guns here, and I'm seeing what looks to be a second one here. So we're going to also increase this. I just have, because I think we can see your production cost 3. Let's look here. Outdated, yes. Well, production cost is the same. I don't know. I'm going to keep both going just to make sure. Now, the Fiat 3000 is an Italian remake. I mean, it's not like none of the parts are compatible, but an Italian remake of the. Do I swap to that? Probably should at this stage. Of the FT-17, the French one, except it's fast. It is max speed 3.8 kilometers an hour. Okay, should be. I don't know how that compares to, say, other tanks, but it should be faster than just about anything going, tank-wise, including early World War II stuff. It's like a hot rod. The Italians, Ferrari doesn't exist yet, but man, they put an engine in that thing and they make them fast, where all the other copies are slow. Okay, well, let's click here. Let's move over to the CV-33, which that was a really big hit, but we'll do that. What's its speed? Oh yeah, I think the other tank, because if this is 7 kilometers an hour, that other thing should probably be more like 12 kilometers an hour. It was like super fast. Later tanks weren't quite as fast as that. So yeah, it looks like an FT-17 in slow, but no, not really. Okay, let's do support equipment. Okay, so we have some of that. The spread speed stat. Okay, well, I don't know where you're getting the record for it, and I'm just going off of memory, but I do know the Italian Fiat was externally looking like the FT-17 that it was copied from, and everybody, the Americans make a version of it. The Soviets in the early days get a hold of a copy and start making versions of it. So many versions of the Japanese make a copy of it, basically. The Italians just super speed the damn thing up, I know. Almost unusably fast. Okay, now we have a lot of needs of importation here. Okay, iron. Well, because we need the iron to make the steel, I guess. So. Well, I don't know if we can trade with the U.S. 3 civilian factories, and for coal, yeah, we'll get some from Reich. Hopefully that will produce steel that we need, or do we need to build more factories for more steel? Been a while, like obviously since I last played this, and I do remember that the steel mill was a thing, and so if we get our more production, we'll see if that fills the gap, or if we need to build more steel. Okay, we do have authorized gas attacks. Guess that's for invading Ethiopia, which I believe the Italians did do. Okay, Italy's not. I don't know if we should be doing that now. Okay, let's really get our war going down here. And
pronto all'azione.
oh, well, let's put all of this under commander here. Okay. He's going to be operating some panzers, so I guess we can go with him. Let's go with the theater commander. Yeah, I guess we'll be fine for that. Okay.
Pronto, signore.
What do these divisions look like? All right. So they're going to support that attack.
Pronto.
These guys are going to support down here. They're going to support there. And do we have air? Yes, we do. And they go after. No, I don't know Italian airplane models at all. Okay. We have no airplanes in our reserve. Wow. See if we can fly these guys down here. We might as well support some operations a little better. If I remember right, there was talks for Italy to make Panzer IIIs, which have been better than any other tank. The Germans did not want the gun to be fitted to Italian. So it sees the entire thing. Actually, I think it's the opposite. Again, I always blank on names things. One of the people that helped me develop my Third Reich mod for Hearts of Iron 3 really helped a lot with the Italian development, being an Italian. Germany eventually sends a bunch of Panzer IVs and Panzer IIIs down to Italy that basically only really end up getting used against them because they're used in rebuilding the formations that are destroyed down in Tunisia, sort of the home, the home depots of troops are used to make the formations up. The Germans want the Italians to make, and I don't know specifically on the Panzer III, but they want them to start putting various German designs into production. Mussolini wants them to put German designs into production. I think it's a combination of two things. One, I don't think the Italian manufacturers had the technical knowledge to make a Panzer III, on the one hand, and I'll explain that in a minute. And on the other hand, they did not want to become effectively taken over by German industry. Because if they start building German models of tanks or whatever, aircraft is another thing. Now they do, I know, assemble, I think it's just assemble, about like 300 Stukas that are assembled in Italian aircraft factories. But it's just all the bits and pieces are all, sent down in trains and are assembled locally. And assembly work is a major element of something like an aircraft production, of the time that it takes to put them together. So if you're getting all the pieces, sent in on railroads, putting into an assembly factory, that definitely helps take some of the burden off of Germany for production of the aircraft, and gives Italy, I think it was well more than 100, but I think it was like 300 or so Stukas that Italy flew that were Italian made or assembled. Because I don't think they were making like the engines or whatever. And so but if you're coming in, you're going to end up having German production advisors in your factories, and they're going to, one degree or another, become sort of an arm of German production. They were worried about this. Now, to go back to being whether they can make it or not, if you notice, all of the Italian tanks, up until the end of the war, or Italy's end of the war in 1943, are made with riveted armor. Why? Well, it's because and everyone knows welded armor is better, is because they don't have the technology to weld armor plates like that is commonly set up. I'm not saying that they didn't have any of the technology. They didn't have anybody to know how to do it. But to get it widespread and get enough people in there to do welding thick armor together is more difficult than welding some, two thin pieces of metal together. And Germany was, and also the U.S., but Germany was one of the nations, especially in the 1930s, was like the best at welding together thick steel armor plates and having them maintain their, armor rigidity and all of that stuff. So I'm just guessing without. My hat's off to TIK. He does a lot of good research, but to a point, in looking at his work compared to what I sort of do or think, is he looks for real world evidence, and this is sort of comes from, I think, his German mentality, and presents that real world evidence, where I'm trying to analyze the evidence that I come across, including his videos, and make presumptions based upon the information that I have. So I don't think, if you're doing it right, riveting together, because you have to punch holes in the steel plates to put the rivets through and whatnot, is going to be inherently faster production than welding or casting your tanks together. And you can look at the Soviets get going with welding pretty quick, and also get into casting fairly heavy. The U.S. both casts and weld tanks, because you have both the welded tank holes on the Shermans and the casted tank holes in the Shermans. And the U.S. throughout the war doing both welding and casting in large amounts. Britain does get to the point that they're welding some of their tank holes together, the thick armor, but they never get to doing it skillfully. The British, late war, that they have to have that front vertical element on the tank because we need to have that machine gun hole poke through it, for the radio operator / hole machine gunner, be able to poke through it and shoot there. So although we slant some of it, we have a vertical face in it. See that to the end of the war, and that's what the production people tell you. And you can't do it on angled armor. The people who examine enemy armor can just point to a Panther tank and go, yeah, but there's the Germans. They've got their angled hull and their, machine gun poking through the angled armor. Why? Well, because the Germans are able to take a flat piece of rolled steel armor that, given whatever, because there's several different heat treatments on it. There's a really good U.S. analysis of, I read more than a year ago now, that the U.S. Navy did of different nations' armor plate for ship. The U.S., Britain, Germany, Japan, that they got a hold of sections of armor. I don't know if they included some other countries, and fired solid shot at them and see how the different treatments of armor, for roughly the same, 6-inch piece thick of armor, how do the different treatments work in dealing with shells, both straight on at the vertical and at an angle, And so the Navy was doing some armor testing for the different methods of armoring. Well, so the Germans are having, the front of the Panther tank is an excellent example of it, having that angled piece of rolled steel armor that they're then punching a hole through it and then welding in the dome or whatever you want to call it, that the machine gun ball mounts through it at an angle, and doing it in a good production line. The British production capabilities are going, no, that's too much, that's too hard. And so they're doing theirs with they're putting a vertical piece of armor there that they're punching a hole through and putting it through. And so it's some of the production techniques And so obviously it can be done because they can just point to captured tanks and go, see, here, they did it here. And eventually eventually it goes away because they get rid of the whole machine gun on tanks. But we can point to some of these things to see the different production styles and capabilities that most people don't take into account when they're looking at World War II and why things are done. And so I think part of that is also why Italy does not want to license German production, because it's more than just getting a set of drawings for like an engine, a tank engine, and then just making it that engine instead of whatever Fiat engine that they were using. Most of Italy's tanks are made by Fiat Onsando, which is Fiat working with Onsando, the artillery company that I think was also making the armor plate, but it's mostly the Fiats. Fiat is doing the engines. And so they do not want to become, if you will, a puppet of German industry. Okay, so we have slight excess here, but we still, with all of that, so we're producing, I guess, all the coal and all the steel. We have okay, let me restate this. We have all of the resources need for our steel factories, but we are negative 27 on steel. So let's buy some from Germany. Rather have our factory needs go to Germany. Also, to give you, everybody, since we're looking at Italy now, January 1936. Okay. Well, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the date. Late 1935, Italy is an alliance with France and Britain. And Italy is worried about this, a bit of history talk. Italy is worried about German expansionism. They are very much worried about, and Mussolini is worried about German expansionism. I believe there may have been a visit by Hitler down to visit Mussolini already once, but it doesn't go so well. Or maybe it happens a little later. I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact date of this. And so, because by 36, you're already seeing a lot of pressure. Hell, the Nazis already assassinated the prime minister of Austria in, 33? But a lot of pressure to integrate Austria into Germany. Well, this sort of part over here, and this, maybe a slight little bit of this, but I don't know how much of this, was all part of the old Austro-Hungarian Empire, and definitely that would probably be a majority German-speaking area, at least some of that would be. And to some degree, the sort of Trieste area is also a bit more German-speaking than Italian at this time. And so Mussolini is worried about this, and this is his primary sort of concern. And he's starting to feel, this is mid-late 1935, he's starting to feel maybe my ally of France isn't going to stand by me, because you have Germany taking over, taking over the Saarland over here, and getting rid of the French finally from the Saarland. It's not remilitarized yet, like it does. This is not yet the remilitarizing of the Rhineland. This is just finally getting the Saarland back, and this breaks the Versailles Treaty already. And there's already been other things that are breaking the Versailles Treaty. And so he's worried about this. And then, Mussolini the second wants to build the second Roman Empire, if you will. And later in 35 still, he invades Ethiopia. And his allies, France and Britain, are a bit upset by this. They don't seem to like the idea of Italy just picking up a random un-European controlled country that's just laying about ready to be picked up somewhere. So they really pushed Italy not to do this. Italy, there's the Hors-Lavar negotiations that is pushing Italy are pushing Italy and Haile Selassie to accept an agreement that will carve off chunks of land, because I didn't make any preparation for this, chunks of land from Ethiopia and give it to Mussolini. But there would still be an Ethiopia of significant stature here, unoccupied entirely by Italy. Not like the Versailles situation or the Vichy situation later on. Truly just changing the borders kind of thing. And you have to realize with Ethiopia, especially out here in the Ogden province, they're calling it Somalia, yeah. This is a deserty area that is primarily Muslim. Eritrea is also primarily Muslim. And there are various tribes in this area. And when I say tribes, I mean like groups of 100,000 people or more that are ethnically different than what we would generally call mainline Ethiopian, and they are generally Muslim, and they hate the hell out of Haile Selassie and the Ethiopians as the nationalists, the nationality as we would think of it. And so these people are like, Italy's coming in? Yay, great, happy days are here again. And so, because Italy is actually, especially both Eritrea and Somalia, are fairly well liked as colonial overlords go. And so they're sort of like, yeah, we're going to get the Italian overlords. Yay, they're going to kick those damn Christians' butt and support the Muslim tribes because the Christians have been mean to us. Ever since before we were Muslims, they've been mean to us because Christianity is older here than Islam. Hell, it's even older than Christianity because before that they were Jewish of a type. Because they're very, you know about Ethiopian Christianity. There's a lot of Judaism woven into it. So yeah, the Hors-Lavar negotiations fall apart. And through the League of Nations, they sanction Italy or put a trade embargo on Italy for all League of Nations, all member nations, to do no trading with Italy except for, and wait for it, I'm going to let chat, what is the one commodity that is not embargoed for Italy? So, just so that you know here, I don't know if Uncharted is still here. Italy at this time should be able to trade with oil. Yes, you got it. That's the only thing that they're allowed to trade with Italy is oil. Everything else is embargoed. And what is the one thing that would probably get them to stop invading Ethiopia? Oil. So they don't embargo the oil. But all the rest of these trades, okay, yes, USA Man's coming in second with that, should not, for League of Nations, unreleased. I did make Third Reich events for Hearts of Iron 4. So you still have trade opinion as a factor here within this, and it's mainly kept because I sort of asked them to keep it. They were thinking about getting rid of it. And so I coded up an event in which gives every nation, except for a few, such a bad trade opinion that they will not trade with Italy. And the only nations that I allowed to trade with Italy were nations not member states of the League of Nations. So the United States was still able to trade with Italy. Germany was able to trade with Italy because they've all left the League of Nations. So now, Mussolini has already been worried about German expansionism, like I've been talking about here, before the invasion of Ethiopia. So he starts out, and realizing, especially with the Saarland, and this is even before they remilitarized the Rhineland, he's worried about Germany moving in here. So he sets up the Three Powers Pact, which is Italy, fascist Austria, and we'll call it nationalist Hungary. They weren't really fascists. Not Horthy's government wasn't fascist, particularly at this time. And it's these three powers. The Fatherland Front is firmly in control in Austria, which is a fascist party, modeled very much along the lines of Italy's fascist party. And the second major political movement in Austria, I would say, would be the National Socialists. They want German unification. There are socialists and other leftist type parties going on to some degree in Austria. But so in, I believe it's January or February of 1936 in Venice, they signed the Three Powers Pact as particularly an anti-Hitler, anti-German defense pact, because Italy, by that point, has been embargoed by its former, now basically allies of Britain and France. And even if there was still that alliance still holding, Mussolini is very worried about German expansionism and the lack of France to okay, well, we pushed into there, good, to support Italy in a defensive operation against Germany, willing to go to war. And Mussolini knows it's much easier geographically to fight Germany north of the Brenner Pass in Austria and wherever, and send Austrian troops to help defend Italy than it is to allow Germany to come in along this border and potentially threaten to invade again to get back old Austrian territories, because Mussolini is aware that the little guy with the mustache was born somewhere over this sort of area in Austria. So he's wondering how much he's looking at Austria. I like it. I think Uncharted has done a very good job with World Ablaze. I am still going to say I think I like Black Ice better. But Black Ice isn't everybody's cup of tea. It gets a little deep in the weeds at times. I never understood why Mussolini wanted Ethiopia except maybe access to the Red Sea. Okay, well, Scooter. Okay, at the start of... When Mussolini comes to power in Italy, he already controls Somalia, or Italian Somaliland, and he already controls Eritrea. They're already controlling this, and of course they're already controlling Libya. Well, Italy wants... Oh, and they're also, of course, controlling roads, a couple other little islands around here as well. Mussolini wants to rebuild the Roman Empire idea. I'm sure he can fantasize about rebuilding all of it, retaking Rome, what Rome had in Britain or whatnot, but that's probably not realistic in his mind. Okay, good. We pushed into here. Now, okay, they're all running about. Let's have some armor. These are both. Oh, well, this isn't. Okay, now this would be a good. Well, we can. Let's push into there and let's push into here. just to tie these troops up while we push into the desert. Hey, Gustav. In Hearts of Iron 4. Well, I have serious problems with black ice still. But I still sort of kind of think it's... Personally, I like it the best. Like I say, I have some serious problems with it. I've rage quit over it not terribly long ago. And you don't want to play... right now, black ice for Japan is fucked up when it comes to China. It just fucked up bad. It's a hard question to answer. I mean, I can answer it clearly in Hearts of Iron 3, which would be Hearts of Iron 3 Black Ice with all the submods. That's the best thing going out there, period, for me. But you've got to like to deal with details and minutia to want to play Black Ice. And that isn't for everybody. And like I say, I have some problems with Black Ice as it is. And so, you know, get back to Scooter's question of why going after Ethiopia. It looked easy. You have a nation with zero ability to build make modern ammunition. They of course can't make modern weapons of any sort. I'm using the term modern because they could probably bang together some muskets or something and make some, you know, black powder or whatnot, but they're not making modern weapons. So, and how big a budget are they going to have to buy things like aircraft? And they get some aircraft deliveries during this time period. There's actually a black American pilot who comes down and is a bit of a mercenary fighter pilot or whatever you want to call it. And I think does okay flying against the Italians. But they're just a few people doing just a little bit. And so he thinks it's going to be an easy sort of like, hey, yeah, we go in and kick some butt and now that we're going to attack it to there. Against primitives in Africa. In China, it was taken slow. I just finished the game and I believe won the war by 40. So while compared to the base game, it wasn't too terrible. Okay. Lo Gang Ho. Well, I'm not sure. A while ago we got done playing a multiplayer Black Ice game, and some very, very weird things happened, and maybe there was some bug or whatnot that just made literally and we had German expeditionary, we had Italian and Romanian expeditionary forces alongside Japanese forces, and they pushed us out of mainland China. And when we sort of quit, we were sort of holding out in Korea, but they kicked us out of Manchukuo and kicked us out of everywhere. Yeah, it did not go well. Oh, yeah, no, yeah, Total War. Oh, yeah, no, I hate the Total War mod because of their unhistorical stuff that they're doing. I really liked it at start, but like Ho was saying, the extra fortifications that they're sticking everywhere and stuff, that just got me to rage quit. Have you watched an oversimplified video of, and if you have, did you like it? What are we talking about? That I don't know. Thank you, Arno. The question is, have you watched an oversimplified video? You have. Sorry, I don't get the question, oversimplified video. Because I'm talking about my experiences playing the games, not my experience of watching videos about them. Oh, then I don't know if I have. Doesn't ring a bell right now. Oversimplified as a YouTube channel. Okay, Eric, thank you. I don't know that I have. I'm not remembering it. Maybe I have and I just don't remember it, but I'm not remembering it at the moment. Let's just delay one division, hold here, and I guess support that attack just so we don't somehow get cut off. Yeah, you can post a link in chat, Eric. That would be fine. I try to at least follow most, history YouTubers, but I'm sure I'm not finding all of them because YouTube doesn't always recommend everything that I or others would like. Thank you, Duce. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, these guys are now free to move, so we're going to move the armor unit that way. We're going to take 2 infantry divisions and follow there. And I think we're going to punch in here with the other 2 if we can. You can be yellow. I'm mostly just wanting to hold their movement up while allowing the rest, particularly the armor, maybe to overrun those militia divisions. Okay, that sounds fun. I like to hear other people's takes on history. So I know I don't have everything right or know it all. God, no, I don't. So what I love to do is finding out new stuff, reevaluating what I think I know, all that kind of thing. Because I really didn't know until doing some research about how much Italy was working for an anti-Nazi alliance set up at this time. And so the big consequence of the world's reaction to Italy's invasion of Ethiopia is to start to push, just start though, to push Mussolini into Hitler's arms. Because you've got to remember, in about 1936, you could import oil for some more fuel. Well, we've got, yeah, we could, but you see, right now, I have not that many factories available. I don't know. Yeah, would probably be good. Let's do it with Venezuela. Let's just get a little bit more coming in. Build up a more base. Not going to do a lot right now. Remilitarization of the Rhineland, yes, worrying. Japan abandons the naval treaty. Okay, so these guys are now here. These guys are pushing there, green, green. Supporting, overrunning, pushing. These guys up here. Okay. You attack there, and you support that attack. This way we'll link up here in a bit, hopefully, with how they're pushing. That will take 2 years to run out of fuel instead of just 1 year. Oh yes, oh, we should have been doing this before. Sorry, I forgot, people. Fill these up to make sure that we make out as effectively as possible the ships. Hello, Darren. How you doing? Let's speed this up a little, but I'm playing just a little slower. It starts to normal because of wanting to manage our invasion here. Yeah, what I'm hoping to do, and I don't know that this is the best strategy. I'm hoping to build up a couple of more civilian factories. You know, 4 more would be ideal, but these are going slow. To be able to pay for the imports of things like oil. Oh, good. Okay, you've made it into here. Let's take our little armor divisions, our fast divisions. And yes, let's move in, and then we will move in one infantry division following this attack, and the other one support the attack so that we don't get cut off. Maybe we'll push on to Addis Ababa and end this thing. Of course, I am not using any of my Navy or any of those other assets around, just the Air Force that is down here, which I think is enough to positively affect most battlefields. I think we were really, you know, an actual, really considering it about 6 weeks earlier for Overlord. I don't know if I have like a good date for that. You know, for what we think of as Overlord. Now, of course, the Americans, sort of being Americans, wanted to do the direct approach and push in 1943, you know, straight into Europe, but Churchill kept them from doing it smartly, I think. We'll move you over that way now, just in case these guys start moving. Okay, well, yes, these guys will move into here. Let's do you and you to support that. And you attack to pin these forces, keep them from moving or moving effectively. Okay, well now they're defending there. Okay, no, that's fine. That's just a spoiling attack. Keep them from coming down, reinforcing this attack here, or this defense. Not enough manpower or equipment. Yeah, I think it's, yeah. Light infantry equipment and support equipment. Yeah, no, we just don't have enough. All right, let's... No, what am I doing? Yes, right here. Okay. Okay. Invest in Daniele Industrial Complex, research bonus to industry, or focus on rural industrialization and civilian. Focus on centers of industry, okay. So this would get 4 more civilian factories sooner, 35 days. This would gain us base stability of 5%. Well, the stability ain't that. And Calabria down in the south of Italy would get us another 4 civilian factories. And Sicily, 4 civilian factories. And down here, reinvigorate the capital. This looks like a bunch of our, excuse me, manpower, but really get us lots of civilian factories and some military. Or we can come down here, which research bonus, 9 civilian factories. 9 civilian factories. Synthetic research and education, run research slot. Okay. 9. Oh, well, okay, no, these are 9 civilian, 9, or, yeah, 9 civilian, 9 military. Civilian, and some military. Prospect for oil, which we could do, but it'll take 70 days, which would be very helpful having that oil. Institute for Industrial Reconstruction. That would get us some of our steel that we need. Okay. Three military factories. I think if we go this route, we'll get more stability, we'll get more civilian factories, which hopefully will mean we can build more military factories over a long period of time than just 9 civilian and then all these military and then more research. So I think this is the correct approach. 35. So we can get all that done, or at least down to here in about within the year. That'll take a while. That'll get us prospect for oil, but I'd rather get some of this going here now, I think, because we can. Yeah, let's go for this. I think by analysis, and I don't know what would be historical. Right, honestly, I just don't know. If I may ask, what do you do for a living? Well, I guess I'm a YouTuber. Do video games. Watch some comedy and marvelous shows and movies, yes. I guess you might call me a YouTuber, though it's not much of a living as in profitable, but okay. Well, what we're going to do is one division is going to support here just so they're attacking from more than one division, and I think it's that division is going to support this division also so they're attacking from more than one. Okay, then. Yeah, I know I'm not training any new division because I don't have enough supplies on basic stuff like rifles. Don't want to train new divisions with. Okay, armor units are moving into there. Okay, well they're gonna be, well, let's make sure they get the orders to keep moving on as fast as possible.
Attento.
Support that attack. Very, very little. Extremely little in the way it comes of income. When we use strike, don't quite understand Sonoas? Sorry, don't quite get that. Well, we're going to end the episode here. But we're going to continue the live stream for sure. Yeah. Don't listen to Arno. He's just poking you. Want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please do so. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Love to see you all around more often while we play games and talk about history. See you next time for even more parts.